Isak del Toro in Mexico is a hero right now. He's God. And, I've seen images of the time trial. It was crazy, the fans and the enthusiasm and the support. It would be very, very a big surprise if he also is not winning the national title on the road. So we may see Isak del Toro, or at least already in the time trials, but probably the whole year, riding in a UAE jersey, but with the Mexican flag. But I've also read that the points are attributed already to next year, not this year anymore.
Whoa, crazy.
So this is the first. I mean, I've read reports that this is the first win
race
of UAE of 2026.
Wow, that is
so only in cycling. You win mid October, but it's already counted for the first win in 2026.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel, as we are every Friday during the off season, going through a few news items, tying up a few odds and ends from yesterday's Tour de France route announcement. Before we get to listener questions, if you have a question and you want to send it to info@wedo.team and we will try to get it. We'll try to get to it. If you absolutely need your question to be answered, become a WeDo member. Put it in the chat this will be streamlined in the future, but currently you have to go to the members portal, click into the show, click through to YouTube, make sure you're on the app, and you will see a live chat and you can ask us questions. We're just trying to iron out the details before we hit the big show at the Tour de France next year. But Johan, but before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about this Tour de France route. We did a big show yesterday with Lance Armstrong. It was great to have him. But I went away from that show and I was thinking, a few things that we didn't quite, maybe we glossed over, maybe we didn't even know. But stage 15, I think I didn't fully digest how difficult this stage was. It finishes, the final kilometer is near 10%. It's a 184 long mountain stage with how many climbs? There are many categorized climbs. It's in the Haute-Savoie, I believe is the region. It's a summit finish that the Tour's never done before and has been done once in the Dauphiné. Is that correct? In 2022, won by Jonas Vingegaard.
Yeah, it's a hard stage, and especially it's a hard climb. I mean, I haven't seen the category in the Tour, but in the Dauphiné, it's categorized as horse category. I think it's 11 kilometers long, more or less, and it's 9% average. So that's going to be a really hard stage, especially knowing what's coming then afterwards. Stage 18, 19, and 20. But it's not a stage that is on the radar of being one of the critical stages because of the lack of iconic climbs like the Galibier or Alpe d'Huez or anything else. But yeah, that's going to be. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, it was Roglic who ended up winning the Dauphiné when he was still on Jumbo Visma, and Jonas was setting the tempo. I had to wait once or twice, I think, for Roglic. So Roglic he had to give him the stage because he had to hang on. But and that was actually when Jonas won his first Tour a few weeks later in 2022.
Yeah, I vividly remember writing the newsletter for that finish, thinking it was kind of awkward at they were holding hands, but it was like a little bit of tension. And then looking back, that was kind of the beginning of the end for Primoz as a leader at that team. Jonas goes on to great success. What's funny is when you actually go to these places, you start to notice things like stage 14 finishes at a ski station in the Vosges. Stage 15, what we're talking about, this is like in the Alps. It's, I guess they ride through the Jura to get there, but these two places are like nowhere near each other. So that's going to be a tough transfer. And two summit finishes next to each other. Then you have a time trial. Then you have a rest day time trial. And then you enter the hardest part of the race. That last week is absolutely brutal. And I don't think I fully digested this. Like the stage 20, 171 kilometers, not super long. And by the way, stage 19 the day before, That's stage 19 finishes the classic Alpe d'Huez finish. 128 kilometers. That's not very long. That's going to be an explosive stage. But this one stage 20, I saw figures something like 50. It was like 5,200 meters of climbing on the stage.
Stage 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5,600.
5,600.
5,600 meters. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you do Croix de Fer, Telegraph, Galibier, and then Alpe d'Huez via Col de Sarenne, I mean, it's 4 massive climbs. Yeah, definitely the by far the hardest stage of the whole Tour de France on second last day. I think they did a good job. I mean, most likely, I mean, we have to be honest, Spencer. If we see the same trend and like if Pogacar is on the same level and Jonas is, I mean, I don't know if Jonas can get better than his actual level or not. If they both stay equal, the suspense is going to be, well, okay, maybe the guy in the lead has a bad day and cracks. We don't really tend to see that anymore lately either. But at least, the question mark is going to be there. That's it. It's not going to be over until you finish that stage. And especially with, those 4 massive climbs, you can run out of energy. Don't think it will happen, but the doubt will be there.
Yeah. We should also mention 5,600 meters of climbing with 171 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So I think that's like Kigali World Championships, but 100 kilometers shorter.
Yeah, okay. If you do long climbs, you tend to get to that.
And they do the highest point. Galibier is the highest point of the tour, and this Alpe d'Huez ascent is harder than the day before. The last 7K are almost 9%.
Yeah. I've been told by someone who has ridden it up and down. It's my good friend Antonio Alix from Eurosport Spain told me this morning that it's the same side. So it's not another side. It's not the backside of Alpe d'Huez. It's the same side. It's just a different road. And so that's called Col de Sarenne. And apparently it's very hard, very narrow. I've also read reports that the surface is right now is really horrible. So they will obviously have to, and they will repave it for the tour. But that side of that climb is actually harder than Alpe d'Huez itself. I mean, let's not forget Alpe d'Huez. I've always thought, Alpe d'Huez, and especially having raced it as a professional, I've never thought of Alpe d'Huez as the hardest climb out there. It's very famous, but it's a climb you can get speed in the corners. There's little tiny moments of recovery because of the hairpins. The hairpins on Alpe d'Huez are kind of flattish, where you can feel
it's a really
increase
unique
of the speed.
Where they're flat hair, you almost never see that.
Yeah. So this apparently is harder than Alpe d'Huez.
Johan, it's funny. I've always thought that as someone who's not raced at that level, I've always thought that too, like embarrassingly to myself. Like, is this supposed to be the hardest climb? But do you think it's better for racing, the fact that it isn't so hard, that it has high speed sections?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, anyway, it's almost always the strongest guy who wins an Alpe d'Huez anyway, but it can be tactical a bit. And if they're really equal, I remember, one of the tours that Jonas won, I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, that they had Alpe d'Huez, and Tadej was trying to attack a few times, and it's a climb that invites for accelerations, I would say. Whereas if it's what is it? What is Alpe d'Huez? 12 and a half, 12.7 kilometers, I think,
it's like 12.3 kilometers or something.
If you have a 10 kilometer climb at 9% steady, it's completely different.
Yeah. Do you think they'll ever bring back the time trial of Alpe d'Huez, or was that too crazy?
I think it's difficult, man. If you do the time trial on Alpe d'Huez, I would say there's only one way to do it, and if they're able to put fences on the whole climb, which is almost not doable. It's way too much.
Yeah, it's funny thing about that climb. It causes fans to lose their minds. It's by far the rowdiest summit finish you'll ever see.
Yeah, no, I mean, people are there 2-3 days on beforehand, and then the problem is to keep those crowds under control. 50% of them have been partying, and there's been a lot of alcohol being consumed in the days before and the hours before the riders pass. It's a challenge. If I would be a Tour de France organizer, I would try to find an alternative because, and then also, time trial, it's every rider coming on their own. So every time between riders, they have time to go back on the road, close that wall, and then they have to open again. The wall has to, I remember when it was the time trial, it was, what was that, 2004, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, it was one of the most stressful experiences I've ever had in my career as a team director. Very, very nervous.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday with Lance. You guys were talking about the end of how reigns end. Am I right in thinking that was Eddie Merckx punched or something?
Yeah.
He lost that.
He was punched. I think it was. I don't know if actually. You know what? It could be. Something tells me, I may be wrong, that it was actually on one of the climbs we have featured in next year's Tour de France, Orsières-Merlet. I think that's where it was either there or Pralou, but I think it was Orsières-Merlet where he got punched in the side by a fan. I don't know if that ended his career or if that ended his winning strike, but I think Eddie retired when he was 32, 31, going on 32. And it was probably like 3 years he hadn't won the Tour anymore. But yeah, he started winning when at a very young age. So I don't know exactly if that was the reason why his winning series in the Tour de France was ended. I do remember, however, this funny story. I do remember as a child, so Eddie was beaten by, I think for the first time by Bernard Thévenet, who was the guy, he won the Tour de France twice. He's the guy who ended the Eddie Merckx domination. And, I remember, man, as a child, I hated Bernard Thévenet. He was a tall guy riding for Peugeot, the white jerseys with the black squares, like and so I know Bernard. I ran into him this summer when I was, my famous visit at the Tour de France that wasn't liked by anybody by some people. And I ran into Bernard Thévenet and I spoke to him and I told him, I said, man, Bernard, I need to tell you something. As a child, I hated you.
I was going to ask him to tell him that.
He was very, he thought it was funny. He asked me straight away about Eddie, because Eddie had, at that moment, he had had a surgery, and they're really good friends, by the way, Bernard Thévenet and Eddie Merckx.
Interesting. Well, I do worry that would happen if they did a Tour or an Alpe d'Huez time trial, but I guess that could happen on any uphill time trial. A few others. So the season ended on Sunday, kind of, maybe. We'll get to that later in the show, but they had the Veneto Classic, which is confusing because there was the Giro del Veneto just a few days before. Finished in Bassano del Grappa. Uno X wins. Super impressive win, by the way. If you go back and watch this race, it's a very well done race. I was thinking about you because they had a steep wall cobbled, and then they had a gravel road, and then a gravel descent, which, Johan, I am a fan of gravel and road races. I did think this looks a little gimmicky. It was such a hard descent. Who was in the front? It was Italian guy. Well, Diego Ulissi was off the front. Yeah. And I believe he went off the road, and then that's why he was caught. A couple of times. Yeah. And Florian Vermeersch, gravel world champion, just the week before, gets beaten because Uno X had two riders in that group. My son is the world's biggest Uno X fan. We were close watching this race. He could not. He thought it was like a pre-recorded race I picked because his favorite team won, but they win. They get quite a few UCI points from this race. They get over 200.
I think this guy is actually still on the development team.
I never heard of him before. It was his first win.
Yeah, really strong. Yeah.
Really strong.
Yeah, so that basically, sealed the deal. There was some doubt, because Cofidis, they've been fighting back really hard. Every time X was there, if the Cofidis was there, they had a few points in China, I guess, and in other races. So it was 500 or 600 at some point. They came back to 150 points, I think, in the last few races. But then finally, with that win, that was game over. So X is next year going to be part of the World Tour.
Yes.
So that's pretty impressive.
At the expense of Cofidis, they relegate Cofidis. So 3 teams move up. It's Israel Premier Tech, which won't be called that, Uno X, and Lotto. But you would think, 3 World Tour teams have been relegated. Not really. Really just Cofidis, and then Arkea will cease to exist, sadly. And we'll get to it later in the show. Intermarche will cease to exist in some form. Their license will not live on. So that's how the promotions happen. Cofidis is now in the 2nd division. Kind of a disaster, but not really a disaster, because they've they've finished high enough in the 2nd division rankings. They're automatically invited to every race. In some ways, it's a better position because you can pick and choose the races you want to go to.
It is. So who is it? It's Tudor, Q36.5, and Q36. By the way, Q36.5 changed its name. It's going to be Pinarello Q36.5. The name of the team. So these 3 teams are in an ideal situation because they are entitled to race everywhere, but they don't have the obligation to race everywhere, which is even better.
You just don't get the security because you have to perform every year.
Every year, yes, yeah. But
currently, though, Total Energies is the big loser because they get knocked out of that. They'll get an invite to the tour, you would imagine. Not so. Someone was like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. They'll get invited to all the ASO races." Well, that's not so clear because if Total Energies is sponsoring Ineos and Total Energies is sponsoring the Volta, like the company, then I don't think the Volta is going to say, "Well, we need to invite the other Total Energies team."
Yeah,
I think they might get flicked.
Might be probably not. Might be part of the deal of the sponsoring. Also,
how weird is that there's going to be 2 Total Energy teams at multiple races?
Yeah, and then there's going to be one team which is title sponsor Pinarello and also sponsoring Ineos, who has Total Energies as a sponsor. So it's a big mix. It's a big mix of very.
You don't see that so often. Now that I think about it, because obviously bike sponsors will sponsor multiple teams, but Little Trek is the only Trek team, correct?
Yeah.
There's no other. Yeah.
Well, I think right now it's only in the World Tour. It's only, I think you could put Q36.5 at the same level. There's only two teams, right? It's Specialized, which sponsors Red Bull Bora and Soudal-Quick-Step, and Pinarello sponsors Q36.5 and Ineos.
Yeah.
Other than that makes me wonder, for example, what's going to happen with Scott? Where is Scott because Scott was sponsoring Q36.5, are they going to find another team to sponsor? It's this late in the season. If you're a big brand, you kind of, have to be sponsoring a first division team.
Yes, that's a very good point, because I think there's a lot of talk of, it's not worth it. People love to complain. I mean, if you know bike marketing people, it's not worth it to sponsor these teams. You kind of have to, and it is worth it. Colinago was floundering. They were not they were a shell of themselves since they've started sponsoring the team and Pogacar started winning. Their sales are like doubling and tripling every year. It is really important to sponsor a team. You forget there's bike brands. I would say their names and you would say, I forgot they were a bike brand because they're not in the World Tour or second division.
Yeah. Scott, for example, there's one brand, for example, Merida. They finished their sponsorship with Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
These guys can actually, they're so big. they're so big and they're manufacturing for many other brands. They can say, okay, you know what, we'll sit out for a while. Scott, I don't think, is in that position. And another one which disappears, I assume, is the Cube, which is the bike sponsor for Intermarche.
Yes.
So that's also a big brand. So what are they going to do? So that's going to be interesting to follow. We may see some last minute movements. Although I think at this point, if you still have to decide on which bike sponsor you're going to have, that's a big job for the team staff in the off season.
Well, yeah, yes, and it used to be common. Like Specialized, I think, had 4 teams at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that becomes it's shrinking because it's so expensive to sponsor a team now.
Yeah,
cash wise and bike wise. But also, you got to say Pinarello. That's a good brand for that team. Like Q36.5. What is that? I don't even know that. But you hear the team Pinarello Q36.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've now captured the attention of the casual person.
Yeah. But it's the same owner. Pinarello and Q36.5 have the same owner who owns the team also. So I think that's makes sense that, you're kind of sponsoring your own team, right? But other than that, Spencer, what do we have? By the way, I just checked correction. Eddie Merckx was not punched on Orsières-Merlet, but on Puy-de-Dôme.
Puy-de-Dôme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend, Lionel Burney, who I've got to admit, these are all this is blind spots for me, that era of cycling, but he knows all these significant climbs and is how they rank. It was man, Puy-de-Dôme, tell me it's Puy-de-Dôme or Alpe d'Huez. I don't know the difference, but one thing you mentioned that this bike, that if you don't have a bike brand now, you're in trouble. I heard that teams are already doing pre-season camps. Riders are going to get fitted on the new bikes and with the new kit now, but the season is still happening. And so the season and preseason have merged officially. We're a snake that never ends, correct?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen lately in the last 5 years, 10 years, that the first gathering, there are teams that actually stay after Tour of Lombardy for 3-4 days to get the first get together of the new team. So they stay in Italy and they do a 3-4 day.
That's so bad for you mentally. To not have a.
Yeah, but it's not training, right? You get together, you get to know each other, talk about your first wishes about the calendar, and then they have a few more training camps, of course. But it's also becoming more and more difficult to find time to have the whole team together. All the riders and all the staff together. It's becoming almost impossible because it has to be November or December, because January is impossible because most of the teams have to travel to Australia already for 2 Down Under.
That's a good point. And then, wow, that is so hard to not. What does off season look like for Wout van Aert's been quiet? I assume, what does he take, 2 weeks off the bike, you think?
Yeah, 2-3 weeks. But they do other stuff. They run. They typically 2-3. I think 3 weeks is good, especially for mentally. You need to check out a bit.
Yes.
You need to. But some guys did 2 weeks. 2 weeks and they're back at it.
November they're ramping up again.
Yeah, for sure.
Ouch. This does show you why it's so hard to have a sustained career of excellence, because that is exhausting mentally and physically. Yeah.
No. It's the thing is that the level's so high. You kind of have to prepare. You have to do your own training camp to be fit enough to be able to do the first team training camp, because they're already at such a high level.
Yeah. That's wild. Well, let's take a quick ad break, and then I have some some things to ask you about when we come back, like the season never ending with the Mexican national championships not having happened yet. But we'll be right back. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Rougiet Go Long. How do we think Tadej Pogacar felt when he took a look at the 2026 Tour de France route when it was released yesterday? I'm going to guess he felt pure confidence. And don't you wish they bottled that type of confidence for the rest of us? Well, we're in luck because that's exactly what Rougiet does. Rougiet Go Long isn't just another ED pill. It's a confidence game changer. It combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula to help you get there and go the distance, and effects last for up to 36 hours, which means you can feel confident all day and night and some of the next day too. Getting started is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online at rougiet.com. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly and discreetly to your door. So if you're ready to up your confidence in the bedroom, head to rougiet.com. That's RUGIET.com and use promo code THEMOVE at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's rougiet.com and use code THEMOVE. There's also a link in the show notes. Make sure to use the code to get that discount and so they know we sent you. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. I'm sure the one thing on every rider's mind when they looked at the route for the 2026 Tour yesterday was, man, that is a lot of time in the sun. What is my skin going to look like when I finally arrive in Paris? Won't it look old and beaten up from all that sun exposure? Well, that's where Caldera Lab comes in. Don't worry about it, fellas. They've completely redefined men's skincare by combining advanced science with clean, non-toxic ingredients, so it's simple, effective, and actually works. Their lineup is dialed. They just sent me a care package with their whole lineup, and I'm using it every morning. I feel fantastic when I do it. I think my skin looks better. I leave the house, and I'm ready to go. They have the good, an award-winning serum that delivers antioxidant units, 3.4 million of them per drop to help protect your skin and keep it looking smooth and hydrated. The eye serum is a must for any podcaster that's got to wake up and work European hours when they're in the US. And the base layer is a quick absorbing, nutrient-rich moisturizer with a clean matte finish, no greasy feel, no fuss. Use it on your face and then use it on your legs after you shave. So you have nice, smooth, hydrated legs when you're out on the group ride. So whether you're starting fresh or upgrading your routine, Caldera Lab makes skincare simple and effective. Don't settle for drugstore junk or steal your partner's products. Elevate your routine with skincare made for you. Head to calderalab.com/themove and use code THEMOVE at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's calderalab.com/themove for 20% off your first order. All right, back to the show. So Johan, we're back. We said the season's done. We're talking about the rankings, but there's still UCI points to be harvested because the Mexican National Championships is currently happening. Isak del Toro, spoilers for anyone if you've TiVo'd this, he won the time trial, the national championship time trial. Not a shock.
Yesterday.
He gets 50 UCI points for that. That's not an insignificant amount of points, especially considering the margins we were seeing. And then I assume there's a road race this weekend for the Mexican National Championships.
Tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah. That comes a bit out of the blue. Spencer, I've tried to get some more detailed information. I mean, from what I've been reading, it's a strange situation because the National Cycling Federation of Mexico was banned or suspended. I'm assuming there was allegations of corruption and misuse of funds. I don't know exactly what, but they were not anymore validated by the UCI this season, and I think also last season. And now all of a sudden, I see, there's, out of the blue, there's the Mexican Cycling Championships outside of the calendar, basically, because the season is finished. And there's a new federation out of the blue. Also, I don't know the exact name. Something. I mean, it's like called the Mexican Cycling Association or something. But so it's nothing to do with the old federation. It's completely new. There's a new president. I don't know if he's been elected or if he's been put there by someone. But in any case, apparently it has been approved by the UCI, and so straight away they organize the national championships. It's a bit strange for me. So what I see that they are trying to bank on the huge popularity of Isak del Toro to organize this event. Isak del Toro in Mexico is a hero right now. He's God. And, I seen images of the time trial. It was crazy. The fans and the enthusiasm and the support. It would be very, very a big surprise if he also is not winning the national title on the road. So we may see Isak del Toro, or at least already in the time trials, but probably the whole year, riding in a UAE jersey, but with the Mexican flag. But I've also read that the points are attributed already to next year, not this year anymore.
Whoa, crazy.
So this is the first. I mean, I've read reports that this is the first win
race
of UAE of 2026.
Wow, that is
so only in cycling. You win mid October, but it's already counted for the first win in 2026.
Clear as mud. Who doesn't understand that? Here, I'm going to see team wins. So they finished the season with 96 wins. So they wanted 100, but they're not going to get 100 because this won't count.
Yeah.
Yeah. In second place was Soudal-Quick-Step at 54 wins. So almost, they've almost doubled that. Here's another crazy stat. The UCI points team rankings, I'm pulling them up. I'm vamping. I'm stalling. So they have 40,000 points, almost 41,000. Visma has 22,000. So they've almost doubled that. But their gap between UAE and Visma is bigger than the gap between Visma and the 25th placed team, Cahu Rural. That is wild. That shows
and
you
also,
how.
and the same goes for Pogacar. His points with number 2 is also almost double.
The crazy thing about that is he raced fewer days than Jonas Vingegaard.
Did he?
Doubled his points.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that says a lot.
That's pretty impressive. One other thing, odds and end, I was going to bring up. Did you see this stage 4 of the Tour of Holland? It was the massive mountain in northern Holland, the Vamberg.
Tour de Vam.
The
Vamberg. Yeah.
Great little climb. I think European Championships was there a few years ago.
And Dutch Championships also when the European Championships were there, Laporte won.
Well,
1, 2, 3 for Visma.
1, 2, 3.
Laporte, Van Aert, and Olaf Kooi.
Postcard from another time, right? Where Visma was ruining cycling with their domination. But it also goes to show you shouldn't complain about that stuff because it cycles through so fast. But Laporte gets second. Looks pretty good. Beaten by Timo de Jong, who apparently was a club rider who worked in a bike shop, 26 years old, and then now he has a World Tour contract.
Where is he going?
Or sorry, he was a stagiaire for Picnic Post-Tenel this year.
Yeah, he was on a is it Continental or Pro Team?
I think Continental.
Yeah, so
it's like third division.
Volker Wessels, yeah. But strong rider, and he beat Kubis, Kubis, no, it's Kubis, yeah,
Lucas Kubis,
and Laporte in the sprint, really strong. I saw that stage. I mean that Tour of Holland was a bit of a struggle. I've spoken to some people who were there, and it's a very nice initiative to try to revive the Tour of Holland. I mean, before there was always the Tour of the Netherlands, but they do have this huge problem in the Netherlands that they are not getting access to police to regulate the traffic. So as there was a lot of these stages were on circuits, and it was a bit of a mess. But let's hope they can improve on that for the future. And it was also a stage race that I had not seen coming. All of a sudden, it popped up, and very late in the season, but still was good racing.
I've heard that there's rules in Holland that like volunteers can't stop. They don't have the same authority.
They don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that pinches you. There's probably also no mistake that the wealthiest pocket of Europe with the highest efficiency is the one that places the least amount of importance on putting on bike races. So we've got places to go. We can't have people blocking the road.
Yeah.
We got to go make money. And So this Lotto-Intermarche merger, which I kind of thought was a done deal, is maybe not so much a done deal. There's a looming November 1st deadline.
Yeah.
But two big open cases here that need to be decided. A, if Biniam Girmay is racing for Lotto-Intermarche, the combined team next year, we have been operating under the assumption of no, because Intermarche is shutting down, that license goes away, he's free to leave. Now we're finding out potentially if he leaves, Intermarche might not want to sponsor the combined team, which then begs the question, Johan, why were they ever interested in the first place? Because
I don't even know why they are interested even with Girmay, because Girmay is obviously a great rider, but obviously they have been trying to find a co-sponsor for a while. They when they lost Destiny, it was Lotto by itself this year, and they need extra money. But that merger really, I mean, in my opinion, it's a disaster in the making. Very much uncertainty. We've read these reports of riders who have been told at the last moment that there was no place for them. Certain riders have contracts. There are riders that have been offered. There's one rider, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this sprinter Gerben Thijssen.
He's a good sprinter.
He's a pretty good sprinter, so he will most likely make the move to Alpecin. And Intermarché, or the team, has made an agreement that they're going to pay half of his contract. So really good deal for Alpecin to get a sprinter on board. Although I think his contract is a bit too big for his value, but there's many riders who have been told at the last moment, and staff. I've spoken to some staff members already, and they told me that they got a call out of the blue when they have been told in June or July, or just after the news during the tour, that everything was okay for them, and now all of a sudden they get a call and hey, thank you very much for your service, but we don't need you anymore. I was surprised, though, to read this report. I don't know how much of it we can really rely on, but that the UCI is apparently blocking the situation of Biniam Girmay, his contract, and that right now he's a bit in limbo. I don't know what the exact reasons are or what the ruling says. I would guess that Girmay, if he has a contract with Team Intermarché and he has a contract with the paying agent of Intermarché, since that paying agent is going to be different with Lotto, because Lotto is basically the paying agent of the team, and since Intermarché has not submitted an application for a World Tour license, he's free. I mean, UCI and sporting regulations tend to think that their rules overrule normal rules, but I'm pretty sure that if Girmay has a good lawyer and he goes to any labor court, it's a very short hearing. It's a 5-minute discussion. In my opinion, Girmay is free to leave, and I think it's almost. Not officially yet, but it's almost sure that has signed already a deal with the new name of the team, Cycling Academy, formerly Israel Premier Tech. We will call it Cycling Academy next year.
Well, Biniam Girmay is the smartest man in the world, because we were sitting here during the summer saying, what a fool. Why is he going to Israel Premier Tech? So many problems. It's a disaster. Well, now Lotto-Intermarche are floundering around. Do they have any money? Intermarche is the team deeply in debt, took out a huge loan from one of the sponsors. So we have to assume that's either Intermarche or Cube or Wanty. And I almost wonder, I don't even understand why they're merging, Johan, because why would Lotto not just say, hey, Intermarche, shut that team down and come sponsor us? Girmay's parachuted out of here, and now he's going to go, and he's going to be the headline rider of a brand new team, and no one will remember that they were ever Israel Premier Tech. If he can get off this team, I think it's a pretty good situation for him.
Yeah. And as we know, that team is known to really pay riders big contracts, and I think for Biniam Girmay, it's a great situation.
Speaking of great situations, smart people, the Roodhoofs, are playing the sport like fiddles, Johan. So they own the Alpecin-Deceuninck team. We heard all summer, boohoo, we're so poor. We can't afford anybody. Deceuninck is leaving as a sponsor. I'm sorry, expensive older riders over the age of 30 costing us a lot of money. We just cannot afford to resign you. They all leave. And now they're getting a great sprinter at half the price because Intermarche is going to loan them to them. And they've re-signed Deceuninck as a sponsor, and they're back. And they have, to me, like staying away from the contracts that they stayed away from is the key for a team at that level, because they just focus on the best. They have the best riders. They have no middle class, and then they have really good riders that work for the team and contribute to the greater good.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I don't know if it's luck or the Koenig had announced that they would stop as the second sponsor, the naming sponsor. Although they had mentioned that most likely they would remain on the jersey in a smaller capacity. But now I've read reports that they have reconsidered and that they will stay on board. I don't know if it's going to be the same amount. I don't have that information. But it looks like, the team will remain Alpecin-Deceuninck. And I mean, a lot of expensive riders left. I think probably one of the guys who has changed his mind afterwards is, for example, this what's his name, Edward Planckaert. Who had announced already. He was announced officially announced with Soudal-Quick-Step.
Yeah.
And now he's not there, and he's back at Alpecin. So it must be that with the renewal or the Koenig staying on board, that the Rotov brothers were able to match the contract and or at least offer a really good contract again to Edward Planckaert, because he's important in the lead out, this guy, for Philipsen.
Yeah, he is really important. That's a rider you want, and that's the rider they feast on. They have guys that win. They have everybody else. I'm doing this from memory, so I'm sorry, Daniel, if I don't get it right. But Daniel Benson published like salary bands for each type of rider. So, Grand Tour contenders, one-day winners, helpers, like pure domestiques, and then the middle class was, let's just say, between 300,000 and 600,000 euros. And from his analysis, Alpecin-Deceuninck had the least amount of riders in that middle section, which to me is very obviously, to make that work, you have to have guys that win a lot.
Yeah.
Like Jasper Philipsen and Mathieu van der Poel. Having two of the best riders in the world, pretty helpful.
Yeah.
But that is so clever. I mean, to me, they're just like, they're playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. They have this figured out. It also helps they're from Belgium and they're sitting on the most fertile soil for that type of rider as possible. They also don't have GC riders, and they've not been tempted to go to, to tangle with that dragon. Like, why do you think more teams don't follow that, Johan? Is it insecurity? Do they not have the riders to win the sprints?
I mean, if you have a guy like Van der Poel and Philipsen and Caden Groves, it's a lot. I mean, if you take on GC guys, you have to change a lot of your structure in terms of recruiting. You have to have other riders to support that GC rider. You have to change your calendar. I mean, not change your calendar. You have to do the World Tour races anyways. But now I think it's just a lot of change. I mean, look what happened to Soudal-Quick-Step when they have changed their whole philosophy around Remco. It hasn't really been very successful. I mean, before Soudal-Quick-Step was the dominating team in the classics, and now they haven't dominated, not in the classics and not in the state races.
Well, and the most expensive domestiques are climbing domestiques.
Yeah.
The cheapest domestiques are flat domestiques. And so if you remember they had Jay Vine and they didn't really work to retain him, because if they keep Jay Vine and Jay Vine's their GC rider, they got to sign a bunch of expensive riders to support Jay Vine. pretty clever cost control, and performance-wise, it works out. What's funny is Soudal's going back the other way. They signed Lawrence Rex from Intermarche. That's a good signing for them. I guess they lose. I liked Edward Plancart as a signing, but they've lost him. But I like the way Soudal's
replaced him with Lawrence Rex.
Yeah.
No, a strong rider. I think Soudal did a few good really signings. I mean, they look like plus. They got a huge new sponsor.
In the form of Red Bull,
anonymous, paid by Red Bull.
Yes,
that's always very handy.
It's really powerful if you think about it, because it's like having a sponsor that you don't have to do anything for. Mm-hmm. You just let Remco go a year early, and Remco, you lose a year of production. That's not nothing, but he was going to leave anyway. So it's a win-win kind of. Did you see Wout Poels is going to Unibet? I guess Rose Bikes Unibet, or whatever the team will be called next year.
The name of the new team is. I mean, the name of the new name is Unibet Rose Rockets.
Unibet Rose Rockets, good name.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, Wout Poels. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely gonna. I mean, it's an experienced rider, Dutch. Has been on big teams and will bring a lot of experience, and also gives some more depth to their, potential spot for the Tour de France.
Yeah, because they're going. You got to show up with.
But we don't know. We don't know yet if they're going. But
we don't. Technically, we don't know. But
the wildcards haven't been attributed yet. But it looks like, especially also because they are Dutch, but they are a French team officially.
Registered in France. Really smart decision.
Here's another. Well, actually, no. They're still with EF, but Cannondale is also out there. They were sponsoring that team.
I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't see who.
It's Rose Bikes now.
Yeah. I didn't see who. I don't know how many options the Tour has. If they don't invite Todiles in, lock them in, and then you're looking at, they're not going to invite an Italian or a Spanish team, right?
No.
So,
yeah.
Maybe Wagner Bazen.
I don't think so.
Though. I don't think that would be a good
team
fit.
is finished. That team is finished.
Man, it's prime time to launch a team and get a wildcard invite to the Tour. Well, before we go to questions, just a quick question for you. I read Daniel Benson had a nice little breakdown of the Derek G situation. The thing that's a lot of it is just unknown and pretty confusing. But he goes to this UCI arbitration board. Whatever it's decided is going to get appealed to CAS. So they're going to have to go to CAS. I was just reading this thinking the timelines were pretty daunting that Daniel was putting out there, like year to 2 years. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, why is Derek G doing this, Johan? Because even that would be scary to me if I was him and thinking, is this going to be tied up for 12 months? Is a long time for a rider.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get to that point, though. But hey, I mean, we don't know. He had his reasons. Maybe he and his legal team are absolutely sure that they have a valid reason to terminate the contract because it's not possible anymore for him to work in the circumstances that he signed up for. If the paying agent stays the same, which I assume it is, but actually, it might have been Israeli and now it becomes Canadian. So that's already illegal. I mean, changing paying agent, different regulations. I don't know. Something I remember vaguely from the past. I'm sorry. This is wait, come here. This is an unforeseen. This is my assistant. My assistant's here. Look at this guy. He must have heard something. This is Bobby, 3.5 months old. Bobby, quiet.
Pretty cute.
What do you say? What do you think? What do you think of the Derek G situation?
That's the UCI attorney right there.
So, I mean, I think he when they sent that letter, they must have been sure. And I already said in the past, normal civil law is what's going to decide. I mean, whatever UCI arbitration board or even CAS now. I mean, CAS has been weakened lately and can be overruled by normal court. So I just think that there's going to be a solution, and Derek G is going to start the season with Ineos. So what is it? Ineos Total.
Yeah. Interesting. I hope it gets resolved. I mean, to me, that would just be so sad if he misses even half the season. Just that's what I would be freaked out about if I was Derek G. But clearly, he said it's not about money. I assume there's going to be a pay bump involved. Do you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, listen, he's a good rider. At the same time, he's not a rider that you can build a whole team around with certain guarantees. But yeah, I think it's definitely a better contract. And the way I read it, the relationship between Derek G and the team owner, Sylvain Adams, was not great anymore. And that might be the reason why he wants to leave.
Derek G currently makes less than multiple riders we referenced leaving Alpecin, which puts into perspective how good of a deal that is currently for Israel Premier Tech.
Yeah.
Shows you why they don't want to give it up. They signed that deal. You probably should think, well, okay, that's a nice deal we did. Let's cash in on it and move on, or renegotiate the deal.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what most teams do.
I think right now, it's not a matter of trying to make him stay. It's more a matter of, okay, you want to do this, I'm going to mess with you, with your career. That's the purpose. Otherwise, it makes no sense. I mean, you don't want to
even
fight
let's play
for
that
a
out.
Who wants to leave,
But even let's play that out. So you mess with them. You really mess them up. You're still in the business of getting riders to come ride for you.
Yeah.
So are you not just teaching riders to never sign with you?
Yeah, well, didn't seem to bother Biniam Girmay and his agent.
Probably a few million reasons why that didn't bother him.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a quick break and then we'll get to questions unless you have any other updates. All right, we're back. First question. I hope these are appropriate because I've not vetted them. This is from David Brown. Question for Johan. Tadej has taken his advice, I assume he means Johan's advice, and raced smarter recently, but we all love his panache. Could we see a return to diva status to win his 5th tour and try to keep the jersey for the whole tour? That's such a good question, David. It was something we didn't talk about in the preview yesterday or today, but will the eventual winner take the opening jersey? And actually, there's not a lot of great opportunities to give the jersey away.
There is. Yeah, there is. I'm going to say no. He's not. I mean, even if he takes the jersey on day one, which is very, very possible, no, they can't. You just, as a team, you cannot. I mean, they're gonna. Okay, there's a way it happens if you keep it without wanting to keep it. That's always possible, right? I know. Because you want to give it away, and then there's other teams, riding for whatever, and they, the breakaway never gets far enough for you to give the jersey away. But the team time trial is short, so I think on day 2 and day 3. Well, day 3 is day 3 is an uphill finish.
GC days is the problem.
So it needs to happen somewhere there in the second week. But I would listen with the last week. You just can't. You have to let it go.
Well, the friend here is the time trial is not until stage 16.
Yeah.
So if the time trial was early, it gets hard to give it away. But there's going to be riders close that won't win. I'm trying to think back to that Giro he won, Johan. How many days did he have the pink jersey? Was it 20 of the days?
What did he give it away? He didn't give it away, no. So he didn't win on stage 1.
He didn't win on stage 1,
but he won on stage 2, I think.
Yeah, and he got the jersey on stage 2.
Yeah, and I don't think that anybody else took the jersey after that.
So he got it stage 2 and held it to the end.
Okay,
through the end.
Almost as Gianni Bugno in 1991. Same thing. But Gianni Bugno won stage 1 and kept the jersey all the way.
The plan was to do that. He just got beat by Narvaez on that stage 1.
Yeah, and then the other, this guy beat me. Okay, let's sign him.
He's good signing too.
He was on Ineos when he beat Pogacar.
Yeah, that's funny to think about. You know who's good? Who's beaten me? Let's make a list of those. They should sign Mateusz Scamoza. And then eventually there's no one left to beat them. Do you think his panache will come back? I personally, I think he's entering a new phase. He's like a destroyer now. He doesn't seem to waste any energy that he doesn't need to.
Yeah, that's the way to do. I mean, listen, as a team manager, I would definitely advise him to race the way he raced this year. Like really calculating and go whenever it matters and not try to do anything. I mean, his attack at the bottom of Otakam, for example, was risky in my opinion. But I mean, of course, we can't say we can't have a feeling of how he feels, and then probably he felt already that Jonas was not having a great day, because that of your rivals. It's usually not. It's usually before you place the last attack, you already know. Okay, this guy doesn't have a great day today.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it was risky, kind of, but then the juice was worth the squeeze because he took so much time. That was it. He could be on cruise control for the rest of the race.
Yeah.
Ian asked one about Primoz. I'm going to push that because I want to bundle all the Primoz questions. Larry asks, are there factors a team director uses during the tour that influence tactical decisions? And Johan, what's the worst and best tactical decision you've made as a director? That's a pretty good question.
Well, are there factors? What do you mean? Are there factors that influence tactical decisions? What does that mean?
Maybe Larry will. Well, let's start with the second half of that. What's the worst and best tactical decision you've ever made?
Oof. The worst tactical decision. Some riders on the team will probably say, letting a breakaway take 30 minutes or something in the tour. That happened one year, and we had.
What year was that?
I don't know, 2001 or something.
And that's when someone had the lead by like 27 minutes, right?
It was Francois Simon. I think he was on a team called Bonjour, French team, and he had the leader jersey with like 20 something minutes, and he ended up. I don't know. I think he ended up like 15 minutes down in GC. I mean, looking at it now, I mean, back then I was pretty sure, of that decision, and also we just we were going to blow up if we had to chase it down because it was a huge break. And I remember I made that decision because we were chasing that break, and I could see the team bit by bit exploding. And then at some point, there was one rider in the breakaway who had a flat, and that's why we were chasing. Was Vinokurov was in the break when he decided to when he had a flat and came back to the peloton. We decided to stop, and no other team was having any intention to set the tempo. So we said, okay, you don't want to do anything, we don't do anything either. So they took 30-something minutes, 35 minutes, I think.
Do you think that would happen now? You don't see that so much.
It's unthinkable.
Yeah.
Unthinkable. Yeah. No.
I wish it would. I guess the closest I can think of is Ben O'Connor at the Vuelta, where he took all that time.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting second.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the worst decision. I don't know, really. I mean, probably made some really bad decisions, but nothing stands out. Best decision, there's not any. I mean, I don't know.
Larry's follow-up might help us there. Factors include rider position in the stage, the way a rider's feeling, and the reliability of radio communications. Wouldn't you say it was a pretty good idea wasn't Jan Ulrich, or you guys had Lance sit at the back and said he was not feeling well?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best decision. It's definitely been the most fun decision that we took. when we saw that the team was not as strong as we thought. I mean, and controlling the Tour de France as one single team without any assistance, even for other objectives like green jersey or white jersey from other teams, that's hard. And so we made that decision, saying, okay, we'll put on a little show and fake that Lance is not feeling great. And everybody was always used to, but this was the first big mountain stage to Alpe d'Huez. And I remember we went over Madeleine, and then there was the Col du Glandon after that, and then down to Bourdoisan and up Alpe d'Huez. And so on the Madeleine, Lance was in the back. So people were getting dropped, but he was in the back of the front group, which was about 30 riders. And so nobody was used to see that. Usually Postel was setting the pace on the first climb and then basically controlling the stage. And so, I mean, T-Mobile or Telecom back then, they just went for it, man. They said, okay, he's bad. We're just putting up the tempo. And they did the job for us. They did the job that we were supposed to do normally with Postel. And Lance was, pretty good at, pulling some faces. And the TV fell for it. And I gave an interview live. They came to me, and they were asking, hey, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, man. Our radio's not working. I can't communicate with Lance. It doesn't look, I'm not used to seeing this. So I kept the doubt open, and they just pulled the whole stage until the bottom of Alpe d'Huez, and then we took over. And that was it.
You created the Visma blueprint, and Visma watched that and said, we should always set the pace for UAE.
Times have changed. It's different cycling.
Yeah. we like Visma. We're just joking. So Ian asks, and there's multiple Primoz questions. So Ian asks, what do you think is next for Primoz? Primoz Roglic, I assume he means.
Yeah. I don't know what Primoz's motivation. To me, he's up there, but I think Primoz kind of knows that he has reached his max, and he has gotten the maximum out of his career already. He's still a very good rider, but he's not dominating anywhere anymore. Not even, if you would say Primoz goes to the Vuelta this year, it would not be the Primoz we've seen in the Vuelta. He would probably not have won the Vuelta. And not the Giro.
Do you think he would have won the Giro had he not crashed out?
What's that?
Would he have won the Giro this year had he not crashed out of it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He was more dominant before in 1 week stage races. So I think Primoz is still one of the big dogs, but there's a lot of young dogs now that are there who can beat him. So I just think Primoz is gonna. He probably focus on one week stage races and then Giro or Vuelta. If I'm Primoz, I'm trying the Vuelta again.
I
be the only record holder, because now he's tied. With he's four Vueltas.
I believe it's 4.
Yeah, and so that's a tie with Roberto Heras.
Vuelta's not so easy though. He's might have Pogacar. You had Jonas this year. You're gonna might have Pogacar next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't know. Pogacar, will he? I don't know, man. I think he's gonna go classics, Tour de France, World Championships. Probably not the Vuelta. I don't know. Yeah, he can. If he's on this strike to, tick off all the boxes and the Vuelta's still missing, we might see him next year in the Vuelta.
Quick question about this. So Pogacar finishes this season incredibly well. No notes. Unbelievable. Didn't go to altitude after the Tour. Are altitude camps overrated. They're very expensive financially. They're expensive emotionally. You're away from home. I believe he just slept in a tent in his house, like an altitude tent.
It's kind of, it's very similar.
Is that the future?
I think so. I think it's a standard now. I'm going to guess that most of the professionals have this facility at their home, or they go somewhere, like the hotel we talked about in south of Spain. So yeah, I think, altitude camps are obviously, the advantage is that you sleep at altitude and you train in the mountains.
Yes.
So I don't know. Listen, sleeping in an altitude tent is not easy either. It's not fun.
Yeah. And that's I find there's a certain altitude I go above where my training's not as quality because I'm not putting out like my body's atrophying, and then I'm not sleeping as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start to crater above a certain point, but everyone's going to have different experience with that. Last one before we go. 2 questions about Primoz. He's had a great career. How many of his wins would he give up for one Tour victory?
A lot.
And then the second part of this is, would he trade careers with Geraint Thomas? Essentially all of his wins for a Tour victory.
I don't think so. I think in terms of
2 Vueltas.
What's that?
Does he give 2 Vueltas up for a Tour win?
In a heartbeat. 4
Vueltas, probably, right?
I don't listen. It's every Grand Tour win is, has his own story, but yeah, if you ask Primoz, give up 2 Vueltas for a Tour win, straight away, anybody would do that.
Yeah, 2 Vueltas and a Giro, even maybe.
Yeah.
But Geraint Thomas has had a great career. So I don't know. I guess they're so different. You probably, in reality, you would never give up a victory, right? Because it means so much to you that you wouldn't want to give that up.
Yeah, but look, for example, if you take the example of Geraint Thomas, he was first, he won a Tour, he was second in the Tour, he was third in the Tour, and he was third in the Giro and second in the Giro.
And he was a classics rider
never on the podium in the Vuelta. Nobody cares about that.
I was going to say, I don't know.
Nobody cares.
No one could tell you that he wasn't. Yeah. He won E3. He was great track rider. Yeah, he's had a good
world champion. And was he not Olympic champion also in the team pursuit?
I thought he was.
I think so.
And this second part of this question, I can give an easy, quick answer to. Primoz famously is running on race days. This is alleged to be true that he goes for a run before stages. I don't know if I believe it.
Well, it might have been the case earlier on in his career. Probably not in the big stage races. I don't know though. I've heard that, in the Tour sometimes, could it be mistaken or confused with, a morning walk or, a little jog in the morning just to get your body. He's not running
for the bus.
He's not running fast. Let me tell you that much.
No. And I actually looked into this and talked to someone that works for a team that's at every race, and he said he runs every morning and he's never seen Primoz out running the morning before a race.
Okay,
so if he is running, it's not a lot. Do you ever see him winning an Ironman? No. These triathletes are so fast now.
No,
we've gone past the point of
yeah.
It's actually, and I feel like the top iron people used to be other athletes would come from other sports. Now they're so good. They're born and bred in triathlon, and they do not. You can't part-time an Ironman win. These people are incredible.
By the way, speaking of other sports, did you see Tom Dumoulin in his first ever marathon, running 2:29?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's pretty impressive. 2:29, man, that's fast for somebody who was doing another sport his whole life.
Could he be training the same amount and still, he probably would be a decent professional cyclist if he was putting just the same amount of work into riding.
I mean, his time has passed, you know. I mean,
He could be on Groupama.
He burned out mentally at some point, you know.
Well, it's what we were talking about earlier in the show with, I don't know how people do it. Mentally, it would be really hard.
Yeah.
Did you see the Tour of Switzerland? They tried to slide this in. Did you see it's 5 stages now?
Yeah,
That is it. So it's down from 8. It was 8 this last year. It used to be 2 weeks, right?
When I did it was 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, it was actually 10 days until fairly recently. And then, man, 5 days. That is a blow. I mean, to me, it never made a ton of sense that you had 2 8-day stage races right before the Tour. But this means if you want to prepare for the Tour seriously, you're going to the Dauphiné.
Or what is it called? It's a different name now, no?
Tour de Rhône-Alpes or something?
Rhône-Alpes Auvergne or something like that.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't in the Dauphiné region, which is maybe one of the reasons why they changed the name, but I don't know. You got to keep the name. We like the name. Don't change it. Anything else, Johan, before we take off?
No, I think we covered a lot. Wow, it's a long show. 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Oh boy. We got to get out of here. I must have had I've been looking at the wrong clock the whole time. I was like, we're flying through this thing. My clock's moving at half speed. But we'll talk.
Or your kids are being really quiet.
I know.
We had Spencer dealing with his kids, then I had my personal assistant Bobby interrupting us. It's been quite an eventful show.
Well, much love to Bobby, and we'll see you next week, Johan.
Okay,
but thank you everyone for joining us.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.